I'm jumping in right before everything goes wrong. The night air smelled like wet wood and smoke. Tanjiro Kamado ran along a dirt road with his sword held low. His feet hit the ground in quick, steady steps. He was tired, but his nose kept him moving. Blood. Fear. And something else that felt wrong in a way he could not name. Ahead, lantern light shook behind thin paper walls. A roadside inn sat close to the trees. It was meant to be calm, a place for travelers to rest. But Tanjiro heard a scream. He burst through the front gate. People were running into the yard. Some tripped over each other. A man crawled on his hands, dragging a child by the arm. The child's eyes were wide and empty with terror. Tanjiro saw it. A demon stood in the inn's doorway. It was tall and thin. Its mouth opened too wide. Blood ran down its chin. Its hands were already stained. The demon lifted a woman by the hair like she weighed nothing. It smiled, as if this was a game. Tanjiro's chest tightened. He moved between them in one fast step. "Let her go," he said. The demon's eyes slid to him. It licked its lips. "A slayer," it said, almost bored. "Good. I was hungry." It threw the woman aside. She hit the dirt and didn't move. Tanjiro wanted to rush in and cut it down. His body was ready. But the demon was not alone. 2 children were behind it, pinned in the doorway by the demon's long arm. Their small faces were streaked with tears. They could not run. They could not breathe right. The demon's grin widened. "Try," it whispered. "Cut me, and I'll crush them first." Tanjiro froze for half a heartbeat. That half a heartbeat mattered. The demon lunged. Tanjiro swung his blade sideways to block, turning his body so his sword took the hit and not his face. The demon's nails sparked off steel. The force was huge. Tanjiro slid back, boots carving lines in the dirt. He heard the children cry again. He had to move the demon away from the doorway. He shifted his stance. He aimed his next slash low to drive the demon out, not to kill. He used water breathing, first form, water surface slash. The blade cut clean and fast. The demon's leg split. The demon laughed. Its flesh pulled back together like the cut never happened. "You're careful," it said. "Good. Careful tastes better." Tanjiro's eyes narrowed. He felt anger rising, hot and sharp. Then the night changed. The air behind Tanjiro cracked, like dry wood breaking in a fire. A strange light flashed over the trees. Not lightning. Not moonlight. It was orange and deep and alive. Tanjiro turned. A rip in the air opened over the road. It wasn't a door. It was like the world itself tore and could not stitch back right. A motorcycle dropped out of that tear. It landed hard in the dirt. The wheels dug in. The engine roared once, like a wild animal waking up. A rider sat on it. At first, Tanjiro thought it was a demon wearing a mask. Then the rider lifted his head. There was no mask. It was a skull, burning with fire. Flames rolled off bone like a living thing. The fire did not flicker like a torch. It moved like it had a purpose. The people in the yard screamed louder than before. The demon at the doorway stopped laughing. For the first time, it looked unsure. The rider's shoulders were broad. He wore dark clothes that looked nothing like a demon slayer uniform. A chain hung at his side, heavy and long, like a weapon meant for war. The rider's voice was low and calm. "You did this," he said to the demon. The demon blinked, then smiled again, trying to look brave. "What are you?" it asked. "A new kind of—" The rider did not answer the question. He raised one hand. The chain snapped forward like it was thrown by a giant. It cracked through the air and wrapped around the demon's arm. The demon jerked back, surprised by the weight. The rider yanked. The demon flew out of the doorway and slammed into the yard away from the children. Tanjiro's mind raced. The children were free. But this flaming skull rider was not human. Tanjiro could not smell human warmth from him. He could not smell demon blood either. He smelled ash, and something older. Something like judgment. The demon sprang up, furious now. "You dare!" it screamed. It rushed the rider, claws out. The rider did not move away. He moved toward it. He swung the chain again. It hit the demon's chest. The sound was not like metal on skin. It was like a bell struck in a temple. The demon's body shook. Then the rider's other hand flared with fire. The fire hit the demon's face. The demon shrieked in a way Tanjiro had never heard. It was not only pain, it sounded like panic, like the demon was being hurt somewhere deep inside. The demon stumbled back, slapping at its own head. The flames clung to it, not like normal fire. The demon's skin bubbled. Its eyes went wide, and it started to beg without even meaning to. "No! Stop!" Tanjiro stared. Demons did not beg like that. Not like this. The rider leaned close. His flaming skull was inches from the demon's face. "You hurt the innocent," he said again, like it was a rule that never changed. "Now you pay." The demon tried to run. It sprinted toward the trees, leaving a burning trail on the dirt. The rider revved the motorcycle. The engine's roar made the inn windows shake. He turned the bike, aiming straight down the road. Before he chased, he looked at Tanjiro. Even without eyes, Tanjiro felt the rider looking right through him. For a second, Tanjiro's stomach dropped. He thought stupidly, "Is he judging me too?" Then the rider sped off. The motorcycle launched forward, far faster than any horse. Dirt flew. The flame around the rider streamed behind him, a burning line in the night. Tanjiro stood in the yard with his sword still in his hands. The children were alive. The demon was being hunted. And a monster that did not feel like a demon had just appeared in his world. Tanjiro ran after him, not to fight him, to understand him. Tanjiro kept the flame trail in sight as he moved into the trees. The demon's footsteps were easy to track. The smell of blood and fear was everywhere. But the other smell, the ash and burning air, was new and strong. Tanjiro moved branch to branch, landing lightly. He stayed low, listening. Ahead, the demon crashed through bushes. It was fast, but it was not calm anymore. It was running like prey. A chain whistled through the air. It wrapped the demon's ankle. The demon was yanked backward so hard its body bounced off a tree trunk. It hit, cracked, and still tried to stand. Its body started to heal. The rider stepped into view between the trees. Tanjiro stopped behind a thick branch and watched. The rider walked like a person who had seen this many times. No rush, no fear. The demon spat blood. "You're not a slayer," it snarled. "You're not human. What are you?" The rider did not answer. He lifted the demon by the chain, dragging it closer over the ground. Tanjiro saw the demon's eyes dart to the side. It was about to dash again. Tanjiro made a choice. He stepped out. "Wait!" he called. The rider stopped. His head turned toward Tanjiro. The demon saw Tanjiro and smiled through pain. "Ah," it hissed. "The boy wants mercy. Save me, Slayer. Stop your new demon friend." Tanjiro's face hardened. "He saved children," Tanjiro said. "You used them as shields. You don't get to speak like you are the victim." The demon's smile faded. Tanjiro took a slow breath. He kept his blade down. "Stranger," he said to the rider, "I don't know what you are, but I saw you stop that demon without hurting the children. Thank you." The rider's voice came out flat and tired. "Don't thank me." Tanjiro blinked. "Why?" "Because I'm not doing this for praise," the rider said. "I'm doing it because it must be done." Tanjiro swallowed. "Are you going to kill it?" The rider tilted his skull slightly. Yes. Tanjiro's grip tightened around his sword. He had killed demons before. He knew demons had to be stopped. Still, something about this felt different. He asked the question that mattered most to him. "What about humans?" Tanjiro said. "Do you kill humans too?" The rider did not speak right away. The silence felt heavy. Then he said, "I punish the guilty." Tanjiro's heart sank a little. That answer was not simple. The demon suddenly laughed again, trying to regain control. "Punish the guilty?" it mocked. "Then punish him too. He kills demons. He cuts flesh. He's guilty." Tanjiro felt a cold pinch in his chest. He did not back away. He held his ground. The rider stepped closer to the demon. The flames on his skull rose higher. "I know guilt when I see it," the rider said. The demon's laughter died. The rider grabbed the demon's jaw with one hand and forced its face up. Tanjiro's eyes widened. The rider's voice dropped even lower. "Look at me," he said. The demon tried to shut its eyes. It could not. The air around them tightened, like a storm pressing down. Tanjiro felt something. Not a sound, not a smell, but a pressure. Like a truth about to be dragged out into the open. The demon screamed, not because of fire, but because it saw something it could not escape. Tanjiro flinched at the sound. It made his teeth hurt. Then the demon's body jerked, and it tore part of its own face away to break the rider's grip. It was a wild, desperate move. It ripped free and bolted into the darkness. The rider's head snapped up. He did not chase right away. He looked at Tanjiro again. "You shouldn't be near this," the rider said. Tanjiro steadied his breathing. "Neither should those children," Tanjiro answered. "But they were. So I came." The rider stared. The flames calmed just a little. Tanjiro took that as a small sign that this creature still understood words. Tanjiro spoke carefully. "My name is Tanjiro Kamado," he said. "I am a demon slayer." The rider hesitated, then said, "Johnny." Just that. One name. Tanjiro nodded. "Johnny," he repeated. "Please come with me. There are people who need to know about you. People who can decide what to do next." Johnny's chain slackened slightly. The demon's escape had left a trail of pain and ash. Johnny could follow it later. He seemed to be deciding something else now. "Fine," Johnny said. "But if your leaders are guilty, don't expect me to be polite." Tanjiro's throat went dry. He believed Johnny meant it. They did not walk far before more footsteps arrived. Fast ones. Two figures landed in the trees with controlled power. Tanjiro's relief came first. Then caution. Giyu Tomioka stood on a branch, calm as still water. His eyes were sharp. His hand was already near his sword. Another demon slayer landed beside him, a Kakushi behind them breathing hard. The Kakushi looked ready to faint at the sight of the flaming skull. Giyu's gaze flicked from Tanjiro to Johnny. "What is that?" the Kakushi whispered. Johnny turned his burning face toward them. The Kakushi whimpered. Tanjiro stepped in front, not fully blocking, but making a clear statement with his body. "He saved civilians," Tanjiro said quickly. "He stopped the demon." Giyu did not relax. Demons also save people sometimes to trap slayers. Johnny's flames rose. His chain clinked softly, like it wanted to move. Tanjiro lifted one hand. "Johnny is not a demon," he said. "He doesn't smell like one. His fire hurts demons in a different way." Giyu's eyes narrowed. "Fire," he repeated. Johnny spoke, voice flat. "If you think I'm your enemy, try me." Tanjiro's stomach twisted. He knew Giyu did not like threats. He also knew Giyu was not afraid of them. Giyu looked at Tanjiro first. "Kamado," he said. "Are you sure?" Tanjiro met his eyes. "I'm sure he saved those children," Tanjiro said. "I want answers, not a fight in the woods." Giyu thought for a second. Then he made a choice that surprised Tanjiro. "We take him to Oyakata-sama," Giyu said. The Kikuchi almost cried. "We take him where?" "To the master," Giyu said, firm. Johnny's head tilted. "Master," he repeated, like he was testing the word. "Fine," Giyu's voice stayed even. "If you move against us, I will strike." Johnny's reply was simple. "If you are innocent, you have nothing to fear." Tanjiro did not like how easily Johnny said that, because Tanjiro knew the world was not that clean. The trip to the Ubuyashiki mansion felt longer than it should. The Kikuchi kept a wide distance. Sometimes the Kikuchi covered their eyes, like looking at Johnny would bring bad luck. Giyu stayed near Johnny, matching his pace. Tanjiro stayed between them, ready to speak if things turned ugly. Johnny did not act like a demon. He did not sniff the air for blood. He did not get excited by fear. He watched the road, the trees, the shadows, like he was on patrol. At one point, he stopped by a small stream and stared into the water. The flames did not reflect like normal light. They looked like they were inside him, not outside. Tanjiro saw Johnny's fist tighten. Johnny whispered something Tanjiro barely heard. "Not here," Johnny said under his breath. "Not now." Tanjiro swallowed. He did not ask. He just remembered it. When they reached the mansion grounds, the air changed. Wisteria. The scent was strong, sweet, and sharp. Demons hated it. It burned them. Johnny stepped forward without slowing. The wisteria did nothing to him. That made Giyu's eyes sharpen again. Servants guided them through quiet halls. Even in a place built for safety, Tanjiro felt tension in the air, like the house itself had noticed the burning skull walking inside it. They reached a wide room. Kagaya Ubuyashiki sat calmly, pale and gentle, with his wife beside him. Tanjiro bowed low. Giyu bowed. The Kikuchi nearly collapsed in fear. Johnny did not bow. He stood still, like a soldier who refused to kneel out of habit, not disrespect. Kagaya's voice was soft. "Welcome," he said. "You must be very far from home." Johnny's flames flickered once, like the words hit something in him. "You have no idea," Johnny said. Kagaya smiled slightly. "I would like to understand," he said. "And I would like to know what you want." Johnny's chain shifted at his side. "I want the guilty," he said. "I want the one who makes monsters." Kagaya's eyes stayed calm, but Tanjiro felt the weight behind the words. "You mean Kibutsuji Muzan," Kagaya said. Johnny did not react to the name. He did not know it yet. Kagaya continued, slow and clear. "Muzan is the source of demons," he said. "He hides. He uses others. Many have died trying to reach him." Johnny's voice did not change. "Then you need someone who doesn't stop." Tanjiro flinched at how cold that sounded. Kagaya did not flinch. "Perhaps," he said. "But power without control is also dangerous. I must ask you a hard question." Johnny's skull faced forward. "Ask." Kagaya's tone stayed gentle. "Do you kill humans?" Tanjiro held his breath. Johnny's flames rose, then settled. "I punish," Johnny said. "Sometimes humans deserve worse than death." The room went quiet. Tanjiro's heart beat harder. Giyu's hand shifted closer to his sword. Kagaya nodded once, as if he expected that answer. "Then we must be careful," he said, "because we fight to protect humans, even the ones who make mistakes." Johnny's voice sharpened. "Mistakes are not the same as cruelty." Tanjiro felt a strange relief. Johnny had lines. Hard lines, but lines. Kagaya turned his head slightly. "Kocho," he said. Shinobu stepped into view like she had been there the whole time. Her smile was polite. Her eyes were not. "So interesting," she said, and her voice stayed sweet even as the air got colder. "A skeleton that burns." Johnny's head turned toward her. Shinobu did not step back. She walked a circle around him, slow and careful, keeping a safe distance from his chain. Tanjiro could see her mind working fast. "Not a demon," Shinobu said softly, like she was talking to herself. "Wisteria doesn't affect you. You don't have Muzan's smell. And yet you burn." Johnny did not answer. Shinobu leaned closer, still smiling. "Do you breathe?" she asked. Johnny stared at her. "I don't need to," he said. Shinobu's smile twitched, just a little. "Then you're not human," she said, like it was a fact. Tanjiro felt his shoulders tighten. Johnny's voice stayed steady. "I'm a man," he said, "and I'm something else." Kagaya lifted a hand slightly. "We will not harm you here," he said, "but we will watch you." Johnny's flames dipped low, like he heard the truth in Kagaya's words. Kagaya continued, "In return, I ask that you do not judge my people without understanding them." Johnny's chain rattled once. "I judge actions," he said, "not uniforms." Giyu finally spoke, still calm. "If you act against the core, I will stop you," he said. Johnny turned to Giyu. "If you're innocent, you'll be fine," Johnny replied. Tanjiro did not like the echo of that line, because Tanjiro knew good people still carried heavy pain. He stepped forward, voice steady but careful. "Johnny," Tanjiro said, "in this world, demons were once human. Some were forced, some were broken. Some still cry." Johnny's flames rose again. "Crying doesn't erase blood," he said. Tanjiro nodded, accepting the harsh truth. "No," Tanjiro said, "but it matters. Because we don't fight only to punish. We fight to end the cause." Johnny's skull turned toward Kagaya again. "Then take me to the cause," he said. Kagaya's gaze stayed kind. "Not yet," he said. "First, we learn if we can work together without destroying each other." He paused, then added, "For now, you may leave our grounds under watch. You may hunt demons if you wish, but you will not decide the fate of humans here." Johnny stood still. Tanjiro could almost feel the spirit inside him pushing, like a storm pressing against a door. Then Johnny spoke, voice low. "Fine," he said. "I'll start with the monsters you already hunt." Shinobu's smile returned. "How polite," she said. Johnny looked at her. "Don't mistake restraint for obedience," he said. Shinobu's eyes stayed bright. "And don't mistake smiles for trust," she replied. Tanjiro swallowed. This was the status quo now. A weapon that could burn souls. A core that could not allow it to swing freely. And somewhere out there, Muzan, who would not ignore this. Muzan Kibutsuji stood in a room with no windows. The lamps were low. The air was clean. Everything was controlled. A trembling demon knelt before him, head pressed to the floor. Muzan's face looked calm, almost bored, but his eyes were sharp, and his voice was soft in the way that made fear worse. "Say it again," Muzan said. The demon shook. "There was fire," it whispered. "Not like sunlight. It burned. Deeper. It made him scream, like his soul was—" Muzan's fingers tapped once on his knee. Fire that was not the sun. Fire that hurt demons in a way they did not understand. That was a problem. Muzan hated problems he could not measure. He leaned forward slightly. "Where is it now?" he asked. The demon swallowed hard. "Near the Demon Slayer Core," it said. They brought it in." Muzan's lips curved just a little, not a smile. More like a thought taking shape. "Then we test it," Muzan said. He turned his head toward the shadows. "Akaza," Muzan said. The air felt colder. A figure stepped forward, strong and straight, like a fighter called to the ring. Akaza's eyes were focused. His voice held respect for strength and nothing else. You called, Akaza said. Muzan's gaze settled on him. A new creature has appeared, Muzan said. It burns demons without sunlight. I want to know what it is. Akaza's lips lifted into a small grin. Is it strong? He asked. Muzan's voice stayed smooth. Strong enough to interest you, he said. Do not waste time. Do not die. Learn. If you can break it, break it. Akaza bowed his head slightly. Understood, he said. As Akaza stepped back into the shadows, Muzan's eyes narrowed. New fire. New rules. But every rule had a weakness. He would find it. The night market was loud. Lanterns hung in rows. Paper signs swung in the breeze. People moved shoulder to shoulder, laughing, talking, buying small things, holding hands. Tanjiro walked carefully through the crowd with Nezuko in her box on his back. Zenitsu was with him, arguing about money again. We can't keep paying for rooms like this, Zenitsu hissed. We're going to be broke forever. Inosuke leaned in from the other side, mask bobbing. If we run out of money, we steal, he said, proud like it was a smart plan. Tanjiro sighed. We are not stealing, he said. We just need to be careful. Zenitsu pointed at a stall. Careful? You just walked past a meat skewer and didn't even look. That's not careful. That's madness. Tanjiro started to answer. Then his nose caught it. A smell that made his skin prickle. Cold blood, hidden rage, and under it a sharp scent like ash and burning air. Johnny. Tanjiro's head turned. Across the street, at the edge of the lantern light, a tall man stood still. To most people, he looked like a stranger in dark clothes, face shadowed. The flames were not obvious under the market lights. The curse stayed quiet when it chose to, but Tanjiro could smell him. Johnny's head turned slightly, like he sensed Tanjiro too. Zenitsu followed Tanjiro's gaze and squinted. Is that weird guy again? He whispered. The one with the, skull thing? Inosuke puffed his chest. Skullhead, he announced too loudly. Tanjiro shoved him lightly. Quiet, he said. Johnny began to walk, not toward Tanjiro, toward a narrow alley between two stalls. Tanjiro's heart tightened. Demons loved alleys. He moved fast, weaving through people with short apologies. Zenitsu stumbled after him, complaining. Inosuke hopped over a bench like a mountain goat. Tanjiro reached the alley mouth. The air inside was colder. A woman stood near stacked crates, looking down at her hands as if she had dropped something. Tanjiro's nose screamed at him. Demon. But she looked normal. Too normal. Johnny stepped into the alley first. The woman lifted her face and smiled. Her mouth opened too wide. Her eyes changed. She lunged. Johnny did not move back. He caught her wrist. His grip was like iron. The demon hissed, then jerked away, skin shifting, nails growing. Tanjiro drew his sword. Get behind me, he warned the crowd at the alley mouth. But the crowd didn't even realize danger yet. That was the worst kind. The demon tried to twist free. Johnny's chain snapped out and wrapped around her waist, pinning her. The demon's eyes flicked toward Tanjiro. It smiled with sharp teeth. More slayers, it purred. How nice. Then the demon's body burst apart, not into dust, into a spray of blood and flesh that shot like needles toward the alley mouth. Tanjiro's eyes widened. It was aiming for the crowd. Tanjiro moved. Water breathing, second form, water wheel. He spun, blade cutting through the air. He blocked the blood needles as best as he could. Some still flew past. Zenitsu screamed. What is that? Inosuke jumped in front of a child without thinking, his body taking several hits that should have pierced deeper, but his muscles shifted in strange ways. He growled and shook it off like a wild boar. Johnny raised his hand. Hellfire flared. A wall of orange fire rose between the alley and the crowd. The blood needles hit the fire and burned away midair. Tanjiro froze for a split second. Johnny did that without hesitation. He protected strangers first. The demon reformed behind the crates, laughing. "That fire," it said. "That's not human. That's not sunlight. That's—" A new presence pressed into the alley like a heavy hand. Tanjiro's whole body went cold. He smelled it at once. Not this small demon. Something far worse. The demon's laughter died. It dropped to its knees like it was forced down by fear. Tanjiro's eyes snapped to the alley's far end. A man stood there, calm and centered, as if the alley was a training hall. His skin had markings. His eyes were focused. His posture was perfect. Akaza. Tanjiro had heard stories. The way senior slayers spoke about upper ranks was different. It wasn't only fear, it was respect for the threat. Akaza's gaze moved to Tanjiro first, then to Johnny. He paused. He stared longer at Johnny. Then he smiled, small and sharp. "So you're the fire," Akaza said. Johnny's voice came out low. "You're not human," he said. Akaza's smile widened. "Of course not," Akaza said. "But I used to be." Tanjiro's grip tightened. Johnny stepped forward one pace. The market noise outside sounded far away now. Akaza tilted his head. "You feel like punishment," he said, almost curious. "I wonder if you can fight." Johnny answered with action. The chain snapped forward, aimed at Akaza's neck. Akaza moved. He did not dodge like a normal person. He stepped aside with perfect timing, like he saw the chain's path before it happened. The chain hit the wall and cracked stone. Akaza lunged in. His fist drove toward Johnny's chest. The hit landed. Tanjiro expected Johnny to be thrown back. Johnny did not move. He took the punch like it was nothing. Akaza's eyes widened a little. Then Akaza struck again. Faster. 2 hits. 3. 4. Each punch could shatter bones. Johnny's body rocked, but he stayed upright, boots scraping the dirt. Johnny's flames flared. He grabbed Akaza's arm mid-strike. Akaza tried to pull away. He couldn't. Johnny's grip tightened. Hellfire spread over Akaza's forearm. Akaza's skin burned. Akaza's eyes narrowed. He ripped his arm free with brute force and speed, leaving a strip of burning flesh behind. It healed fast, but the smell was wrong. Even as it healed, it looked like it hurt deeper than normal wounds. Akaza's smile returned, now excited. "Good," he said. "Very good." Tanjiro's mind raced. Akaza was enjoying this. That was dangerous, because Akaza fought best when he was excited. Tanjiro moved in, trying to keep Akaza's attention split. Water breathing, third form, flowing dance. Tanjiro's blade flashed toward Akaza's side. Akaza turned and blocked with his forearm. The blade dug in, but not deep enough. Akaza's other hand shot out toward Tanjiro's face. Johnny's chain wrapped Akaza's wrist and yanked. Akaza's punch missed Tanjiro by inches. Tanjiro stumbled back, breathing hard. Zenitsu was at the alley mouth, shaking like a leaf. He was trying to pull civilians away without looking inside. Inosuke snarled, stepping in, blades raised. "Stripe face!" he yelled. "I'll cut you!" Akaza glanced at Inosuke like he was not worth time. That insult alone made Inosuke angrier. Akaza shifted his stance. A shockwave hit the alley floor when he stomped. Crates exploded. Dust and splinters flew. Tanjiro was pushed back by the force. Johnny stayed planted. Akaza moved again, now aiming for the outside. Not to run, to widen the battlefield, to reach the crowd. Tanjiro saw it and shouted, "No!" He lunged to block. Akaza slipped past him with a small turn, like Tanjiro was too slow. Akaza's hand lifted, ready to strike toward the alley mouth. A strike like that would tear through bodies. Johnny moved faster than Tanjiro expected. He stepped in front of Akaza and took the hit. Akaza's palm slammed into Johnny's chest. The air boomed. Johnny slid back a foot. But the hit did not pass him. The crowd stayed safe behind him. Tanjiro's eyes widened again. Johnny was guarding civilians like a wall. Akaza stared at Johnny, now fully focused. "You don't break," Akaza said. Johnny's voice was flat. "I don't stop," he replied. Johnny's flames surged higher. Akaza's eyes narrowed, sensing danger now. Johnny's skull leaned close. "Look at me," Johnny said. The words were simple. But Tanjiro felt the pressure again, like before in the woods. Akaza's body tensed. For the first time, Akaza stepped back without attacking. His instincts screamed at him. Johnny reached out. His burning hand grabbed Akaza's face. Akaza's eyes widened. Johnny's fire roared. Tanjiro could feel it in his bones. Akaza's mouth opened, but no words came out at first. Then Akaza screamed, not like a fighter hit in the ribs, like a person forced to watch something they never wanted to see again. Tanjiro froze. He saw Akaza's hands shake for one heartbeat. Akaza's eyes flashed with something that looked like pain and anger mixed together. Then Akaza did something smart. He did not try to overpower Johnny's grip. He broke the moment. Akaza's body snapped backward with a violent twist, ripping his own face skin and tearing free like the demon in the woods did, but cleaner and faster. His head reformed as he flew back. He landed at the alley end, breathing hard. He was not afraid, but he was cautious now. "Interesting," Akaza said, voice lower. "You don't just burn flesh." Johnny's chain dragged across the ground, sparks and fire. "I burn guilt," Johnny said. Akaza's eyes hardened. "Then you should pick better targets," he said, and his gaze flicked to Tanjiro's sword. Tanjiro's chest tightened. Akaza was trying to turn Johnny against them. Johnny did not look at Tanjiro. He looked past Akaza toward the market. He smelled the fear. He heard the screams starting now as people finally realized something was wrong. Johnny's flames dipped slightly. Tanjiro understood. Johnny cared about the crowd right now. Akaza used that. He dashed out of the alley into the open street, moving so fast he became a blur. Tanjiro chased. Johnny chased. They burst into the market. Lanterns shook as people ran. Akaza moved through the crowd like a predator, but he did not strike yet. He forced the slayers to hold back. If Tanjiro swung wide, he could cut a civilian. If Johnny threw hellfire, he could burn innocent people. Akaza was smart enough to use the crowd as armor. Tanjiro gritted his teeth. "He's using them!" Johnny's voice stayed cold. "Then we clear them," he said. He swung the chain, not at Akaza, at the ground. The chain wrapped around a wooden support beam of a stall. Johnny yanked. The whole stall collapsed sideways like a wall, blocking one street and forcing people to funnel away from Akaza. Tanjiro's eyes widened. That was not random violence. It was control. Johnny swung again. Another stall went down, but in a clean way that created a barrier, not a pile on top of people. Tanjiro started shouting directions. "This way! Run to the open road! Don't stop!" Zenitsu, still shaking, grabbed two children and bolted, crying the whole time. "Why is this my life?" Inosuke jumped onto a roof and began kicking tiles down, making loud crashes to scare people away from the main street. "Move! Move! Move!" he yelled like a wild guard dog. Akaza watched all of it, eyes sharp. He stepped onto an empty patch of street at last. No civilians close. He smiled, pleased like he had tested them and learned something. "Good," Akaza said. "You care about humans." Johnny walked toward him, flames rising again. Tanjiro stepped beside Johnny, sword ready. Akaza's stance settled. He looked at Tanjiro. "You're weak," Akaza said plainly, "but you're stubborn." Then he looked at Johnny. "You're strong," Akaza said, "but you're not clean." Tanjiro felt anger spike. Johnny did not react. Akaza lunged. This time, Johnny met him head-on. Chain against fist. Hellfire against demon speed. The fight cracked the street. Akaza's punches made the air boom. Johnny's chain snapped like thunder and wrapped around Akaza's limbs, trying to hold him still for another stare. Akaza broke chains with raw power, then dodged others with perfect timing. Johnny's fire burned Akaza's arms and shoulders again and again. Akaza healed again and again, but each time, Akaza's face tightened for a moment, like the healing was not as easy as normal. Tanjiro darted in only when he saw an opening, cutting to distract, never staying long. He knew he could not win this by himself. His job was to help Johnny land the clean hits. Akaza's eyes flicked to Tanjiro's blade. He stopped attacking Johnny for half a second and drove a kick toward Tanjiro's ribs. Tanjiro barely blocked with his sword. The force still threw him into a stall wall. Wood broke. Tanjiro slid to the ground, gasping. Akaza stepped toward him, ready to finish. Johnny moved. He grabbed Akaza by the throat. He lifted him off the ground. Akaza's eyes widened again. Not fear, surprise. Johnny's flames roared. "Look at what you've done," Johnny said. Akaza's body tensed. For one heartbeat, Akaza's eyes flickered like he saw something else. Then Akaza's expression turned hard, like a door slammed shut. He twisted and slipped free again, tearing his own skin if he had to. He landed back, crouched, breathing steady now. He had learned enough. His eyes cut toward the shadows between two buildings. Tanjiro's stomach dropped. There was another demon presence there, faint but real. A messenger. Muzan's eyes. Akaza spoke without looking away from Johnny. "You're not from here," he said. "Your fire is not part of this world." Johnny's flames crackled. "Neither are you," Johnny said. Akaza smiled. "True," he said, "but I belong to him." Then Akaza stepped back into the shadows. Tanjiro tried to chase. Akaza vanished like smoke, not because he was scared, because he chose to leave. And because someone like Akaza could leave whenever he wanted if the battlefield wasn't locked down. Tanjiro slammed his fist into the dirt, angry. Johnny stood still in the ruined street. His flames lowered slowly. The crowd had fled. Lanterns swung in empty air. The market was broken but not burning out of control. Johnny looked at Tanjiro. Tanjiro pushed himself up, breathing hard. "That was an upper rank," Tanjiro said, voice tight. Johnny's skull tilted. "Upper," he repeated. Tanjiro nodded. "One of the strongest demons," he said. "He serves Muzan." At the name, Johnny's flames rose, not from fear, from focus. "Muzan," Johnny said, tasting the word. Tanjiro watched him carefully. "Now he knows about you," Tanjiro said. Johnny's voice was low. "Good," he said. Tanjiro swallowed. "That means he will come harder next time," he said. Johnny turned his head toward the dark road leading out of town. His chain clinked softly, like it wanted to move. "Then we get ready," Johnny said. Tanjiro stared at the burning skull in the night. He had seen strong Hashira. He had seen demons with terrifying power. But this was different. This was something that did not belong to the sun or the night. It belonged to judgment. And now, the war had changed. 2 days passed after the night market was torn apart. People in the town did not talk about an upper rank or a demon slayer mission. Most people did not even know those words. They talked about a burning man. They talked about a skull that looked into a demon and made it scream like it was dying inside. They talked about a chain that moved like it had its own mind. And they talked about the demon slayers. Because the demon slayers were the only group that ever showed up when the night turned wrong. Tanjiro felt the change the moment he walked through town again. The streets were fixed fast, but fear stayed. Shop owners bowed with tight smiles. Mothers pulled children close. Men who used to complain about prices now watched the rooftops. Tanjiro wanted to tell them it was okay. He wanted to say the Corps would protect them. But he also understood why they were scared. Because the night market had shown them something new, a kind of power that did not fit their world. Tanjiro kept his voice gentle when he spoke to the innkeeper, whose stall had been smashed. "I'm sorry," Tanjiro said. "We will help fix what was broken." The innkeeper wiped his hands on his apron. His eyes never left Tanjiro's sword. "Was that thing with you?" the man asked. Tanjiro's chest tightened. "He protected people," Tanjiro said. "He stopped the demon from reaching the crowd." "That's not what I asked," the innkeeper said. Tanjiro paused. "It is not part of our Corps," Tanjiro said honestly. "But he is not our enemy right now." The man swallowed. "Right now," he repeated, like the words were heavy. Tanjiro bowed. "If he becomes a threat to humans, we will stop him," Tanjiro said. He meant it. But saying it made him feel sick, because he had seen Johnny stand between Akaza and civilians without even thinking. Tanjiro walked away with Nezuko's box on his back. Zenitsu trailed behind him, still shaking from the memory. "Do you think he can see my thoughts?" Zenitsu whispered. Tanjiro blinked. "No," he said. Zenitsu grabbed Tanjiro's sleeve. "How do you know?" Zenitsu hissed. "He has no eyes." "What if he has super ghost eyes?" Inosuke jumped between them, laughing. "If Skullhead tries to stare at me, I'll stare back harder," he bragged. Zenitsu screamed. "You can't stare back at a skull." Tanjiro sighed, but a small part of him felt relief. Their bickering was normal. Normal was a rope to hold when everything else felt strange. That night, a Kasugai crow arrived with a message. Tanjiro recognized the voice at once. "Oyakata-sama requests you return," the crow said. "Important meeting." Tanjiro's stomach tightened again. He knew what that meant. The Hashira would be there, and Johnny would be the center of the storm. Shinobu Kocho stood in a quiet room with clean floors and sharp-smelling herbs. She liked rooms like this, a room where tools were lined up, a room where answers could be found. Outside, people could scream. Inside, she could think. A Kakushi brought a report and bowed low. Shinobu smiled. "Thank you," she said sweetly. The Kakushi flinched anyway. Everyone flinched these days. Shinobu opened the report. It was messy. Witness statements, injuries, burn marks drawn by someone who could not describe what they saw. She read it once. Then she read it again, not because she was confused, because she was unsettled. "Fire that clings," she murmured. She tapped her finger on the page where someone had written. The demon screamed like it was being punished by something inside itself. Shinobu set the paper down and looked toward the hallway. Johnny was being kept on the outer grounds tonight, not inside. Kagaya had decided that after hearing the details. Shinobu agreed with the choice. A power like that did not belong near sleeping children. She took a small box of tools and stepped outside. The air smelled like wisteria and night dew. Near the far trees, a faint orange glow moved. Johnny stood alone on a patch of dirt, facing away from the mansion. He was not full flame right now. His human form was visible, but Shinobu could still sense the wrongness under it, like a shadow behind a paper wall. He held his chain in both hands. He did not swing it like a fighter training. He tested it. He let it slide through his fingers slowly. He checked links. He listened to the sound it made, like a man checking a weapon before war. Then he stared into his palm, where a small flame danced. He was not warming himself. He looked like he was watching for something in the fire. Shinobu stopped a few steps away. "Good evening," she called, voice light. Johnny did not turn right away. "You follow people quietly," he said. Shinobu smiled. "It's a habit," she replied. "I'm small. I have to be careful." Johnny turned. His eyes looked tired, even when they were not burning. "What do you want?" he asked. "Answers," Shinobu said. Johnny's mouth tightened. "That's what everyone wants." Shinobu lifted her small box. "Not about you as a person," she said. "About your power." Johnny stared at her. Shinobu kept her smile, but her voice sharpened a little. "In the market, you stopped Akaza," she said. "Not fully, but you changed him. For a moment, he shook." Johnny's jaw flexed. "He got away," he said. "He did," Shinobu agreed. "But that's not my point. My point is this." She stepped closer, still careful. "Demons do not fear pain," Shinobu said. "They fear sunlight. They fear wisteria. They fear being trapped. They fear Muzan. Pain is nothing to them." Johnny's gaze stayed flat. Shinobu continued. "But you hurt him in a way that mattered," she said. "So I want to know, what exactly does your fire do?" Johnny's voice was low. "It burns the soul." Shinobu's smile thinned. "That's a big word," she said. "Souls are not something I can measure with needles." Johnny looked down at his chain. "You don't need to measure it," he said. "You just need to know what happens to people who deserve it." Shinobu's eyes stayed bright. "And who decides who deserves it?" she asked. Johnny looked up again. For a moment, Shinobu felt something press against her, like a heavy heat behind the air. Not pain, not fear. A warning. Johnny's voice stayed calm, but it was colder now. "The guilty decide," he said. "With what they do." Shinobu's smile returned, polite again. "I see," she said. She did not say what she was thinking, because what she was thinking was dangerous. She was thinking about human beings, about soldiers who hurt villages during war, about men who beat their wives, about people who smiled while they lied. The Demon Slayer Corps protected humans, but humans could be cruel too. If Johnny's power judged cruelty, not species, then the Corps had brought a walking judgment into Japan. Shinobu closed the box in her hands. "One more question," she said. Johnny waited. "Do you control when you become—" "That?" she asked, choosing her words carefully. Johnny's eyes hardened. "Sometimes," he said. "Sometimes not." Shinobu nodded once. That was the most honest answer she had heard from him. She turned to leave, then stopped. Tanjiro had told her something earlier. He had said demons were once human. He had said, "Some cried." Shinobu looked back at Johnny. "In our world," she said, "the monsters were human once." Johnny's face did not change. "Then they made their choice," he replied. Shinobu's voice stayed soft. "Some were forced," she said. Johnny's jaw tightened, like a door being pushed. He did not answer. Shinobu walked away with a steady pace, but her mind was racing. If the man could not bend, the world around him would have to, or the world would break. Kagaya Ubuyashiki's voice was gentle, but the room was tense. The Hashira sat in a wide circle. Tanjiro knelt near the side with Nezuko's box behind him, watched by guards. Giyu sat still as stone. Shinobu sat with her polite smile. Others were there too, eyes sharp, hands near their swords, their trust thin. Johnny stood at the center. He did not sit. He did not bow. He stood like a man in court who did not fear the judge. Kagaya spoke first. "Thank you for coming," he said to everyone. "We have a new factor in our war." One Hashira's voice cut in, rough and angry. "A demon trick," he said, "or something worse." Johnny's head turned slightly. "Say it straight," Johnny said. "You want to kill me?" The room went colder. A few hands tightened on sword hilts. Tanjiro felt his throat dry. He wanted to speak, but Kagaya lifted a hand. Kagaya's voice stayed calm. "We do not decide with fear," Kagaya said. He looked at Johnny. "You saved lives," Kagaya continued. "My people saw that. I honor that." Johnny's face stayed hard. "Then let me finish the job," he said. "Point me at Muzan." A Hashira leaned forward. "You speak his name too easily," he snapped. "You don't even know what he is." Johnny's voice was flat. "I know what he does," Johnny replied. "He makes monsters. He hides behind them. He spreads suffering." That statement hit the room in a strange way, because it was true. And it was said with no decoration, just truth. Kagaya's eyes softened. "You have a simple kind of justice," he said. Johnny did not deny it. Kagaya turned his head slightly. "Kamado Tanjiro," he said. "You were closest to him in the market. Tell us what you saw." Tanjiro took a slow breath. "He protected civilians first," Tanjiro said. "He blocked Akaza. He moved stalls to make barriers so people could escape. He didn't burn the whole street even though he could." One Hashira scoffed. "That doesn't mean anything," he said. "It means he has control," Tanjiro insisted. "At least some control." Shinobu's smile stayed, but her voice slipped in like a thin blade. "And how many humans has he judged before he arrived here?" she asked. Tanjiro froze. He did not know. Johnny answered for him. "More than you want to hear," Johnny said. The room tightened again. Giyu's calm voice cut through. "He is dangerous," Giyu said. Not as an insult, but as a fact. "But he is also focused on demons." Johnny looked at Giyu. "You don't like me," Johnny said. "I don't trust unknown threats," Giyu replied. Johnny's mouth twitched like a bitter half-smile. "Good," he said. "That means you'll stay sharp." Another Hashira's voice rose. "We don't need him," he said. "We've fought demons for generations." Johnny's eyes narrowed. "And how's that going?" he asked. The words were harsh. The room flared with anger. Tanjiro felt it like heat. Kagaya did not raise his voice. He simply spoke again, soft and firm. "Enough," Kagaya said. Everyone fell silent. Kagaya looked at Johnny. "This is my condition," Kagaya said. "You may hunt demons with us, but you do not act alone around humans, and you do not use your most extreme punishment unless a Hashira is present." Johnny's shoulders tensed. Tanjiro could almost feel the spirit inside him pushing back. Johnny's voice dropped. "You want to put chains on me," he said. Kagaya nodded slowly. "Yes," he said. "Not to control you like a weapon, to protect people from mistakes." Johnny's jaw clenched. "I don't make mistakes," he said. Shinobu's smile sharpened. "Everyone does," she replied. Johnny's head turned toward her. For a moment, his eyes looked like they might burn. Then he took a slow breath. Tanjiro noticed it. Johnny was holding himself back. Johnny's voice came out rougher. "Fine," he said. "You want rules? I can work with rules." Kagaya's face stayed calm, but Tanjiro saw relief in his eyes. A thin path had been built. Not trust, but a path. Then Kagaya asked the question that truly mattered. "Johnny," Kagaya said, "what do you call what you are?" Johnny's gaze fell for a moment, like he hated the answer. Then he said it. "Ghost Rider," Johnny said. The Hashira reacted, some with confusion, some with disgust, some with a strange, quiet fear. Tanjiro repeated the words in his mind. Ghost. Rider. A name that sounded like a story told to scare children. But Tanjiro had seen him fight. He knew it was real. Kagaya nodded once, as if placing the name into a careful box in his mind. "Then we will call you that," Kagaya said. "Ghost Rider." Johnny's mouth tightened. "Just Johnny is fine," he said. Kagaya smiled gently. Then Johnny, he agreed. The meeting ended without blood. That alone felt like a victory. But Tanjiro could feel something else now. A pressure outside the mansion. Like the night itself had noticed the new rules. And somewhere far away, Muzan was planning. Muzan's face stayed calm, but his thoughts were sharp. Akaza had returned with information. Not enough, but enough to adjust. Muzan listened without blinking as Akaza described the fire. It doesn't burn like sunlight, Akaza said. It targets something else. Muzan's fingers tapped once, soft. The soul, he said. Akaza's eyes narrowed. Maybe, Akaza admitted. But it shook me. For a moment. That irritated Muzan. Not because Akaza had felt pain, because Akaza had been affected at all. Muzan hated anything that reached beyond flesh. He leaned back in his chair. Then we don't fight it like a normal enemy, Muzan said. Akaza tilted his head. You have a plan, he said. Muzan's voice stayed smooth. Several, he replied. He lifted one finger. First, we use humans. Akaza's lips tightened. Cowardly, Akaza said. Muzan's gaze turned cold. Effective, Muzan replied. He lifted a second finger. Second, we send pieces that do not carry the weight of guilt. Akaza blinked. What does that mean? He asked. Muzan's eyes narrowed. Demons who feel little, he said. Demons trained to obey, not to enjoy. Demons that kill because I say so, not because they laugh. Akaza's mouth curled slightly. You mean tools, he said. Yes, Muzan replied. He lifted a third finger. Third, he said. We study him. Akaza's eyes sharpened. Capture? He asked. Muzan nodded. If possible, he said. I want to know what his fire is. I want to know if it can be copied, or blocked, or turned. Akaza's voice lowered. And if it cannot? He asked. Muzan smiled, small and empty. Then we break his allies, Muzan said. We make him choose. Akaza's grin returned. That sounds more interesting, he said. Muzan's voice stayed quiet. He thinks he is a judge, Muzan said. Let us see how he reacts when the guilty wear innocent faces. Akaza bowed. Understood, he said. When Akaza left, Muzan turned toward the darkness where other demons waited. Find the humans who already worship demons, Muzan said. The ones who trade lives for safety. A low voice answered. Yes, Kibutsuji-sama. Muzan's eyes half-lidded, a flame that judged souls. Fine. Muzan would not challenge it with pride. He would challenge it with traps. The next missions were different, not because demons were stronger every night, but because people were watching. Rumors moved faster than crows. Some towns prayed for the demon slayers. Some towns refused them entry. Some towns whispered that the slayers had brought a curse into Japan. Tanjiro felt it in the way doors shut faster. He felt it when a child flinched at his sword. He kept reminding himself of the truth. Humans were afraid because they wanted to live, and fear made people unfair. Still, it hurt. One night, Tanjiro found Johnny on a lonely road outside a village. Johnny stood beside his motorcycle. He was in human form, but his hands were tense. Tanjiro stopped a few steps away. Are you waiting for something? Tanjiro asked. Johnny looked at the road ahead. Listening, he said. Tanjiro tilted his head. For what? He asked. Johnny lifted his hand slowly. A small flame appeared above his palm. He stared into it like it was a window. Tanjiro remembered Zenitsu's silly words about ghost eyes. For the first time, Tanjiro wondered if it was not fully a joke. What is that? Tanjiro asked. Johnny's voice was quiet. A check, he said. I do it every night. Tanjiro blinked. A check? He repeated. Johnny nodded. If the spirit senses something nearby, Johnny said, it pulls. I resist when it's wrong. I follow when it's right. Tanjiro's throat tightened. Does it ever pull toward us? He asked. Johnny looked at Tanjiro for a long moment. Then he said, Not you. Tanjiro let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. Johnny added, But it pulls toward humans sometimes. Tanjiro's face tightened. Humans? He asked. Johnny's jaw clenched. Some humans do things worse than demons, Johnny said. Tanjiro wanted to argue, but he couldn't. He had met cruel humans before. He just didn't want Johnny to become the thing that decided who deserved to live. Tanjiro spoke carefully. If a human is cruel, Tanjiro said, we can stop them. We can arrest them. We can protect victims. But killing, Johnny cut him off. I'm not your police, Johnny said. I'm not your court. I'm a curse. Tanjiro's eyes softened. That sounds lonely, Tanjiro said. Johnny didn't answer. He turned his head away like the words hit too close. Then he changed the subject without really changing it. There's something wrong in this area, Johnny said. Not a demon. Humans. Tanjiro's spine chilled. What kind of wrong? Tanjiro asked. Johnny's hand tightened around his chain. The kind that feeds demons, he said. Tanjiro's stomach dropped. He thought of stories he hated. Villages that handed over travelers. Families that sold strangers to monsters to survive. He had heard whispers. He had never seen it himself. Tanjiro nodded once. I'm coming, he said. Johnny looked at him. You shouldn't, Johnny said. Tanjiro's voice stayed steady. If humans are involved, Tanjiro said, then I have to. I won't let you burn people without proof. Johnny stared. Then he nodded once. Fine, Johnny said, but don't get in my way when you see the truth. Tanjiro swallowed. He followed. The mountain temple sat above a small town, hidden by trees and fog. It should have felt peaceful. It did not. The air tasted wrong, not like demon blood, like secrets. Tanjiro and Johnny approached at night. Tanjiro heard chanting. Slow. Low. Human voices. Johnny stopped. He stared at the temple gate. His shoulders tightened. Tanjiro whispered. What do you feel? He asked. Johnny's voice came out flat. Cowards, he said. They moved closer. Tanjiro saw lanterns inside the temple yard. A group of people knelt in front of a stone altar. They were not praying for protection. They were offering something. A tied sack. It moved. A muffled sound came from inside. Tanjiro's blood went cold. A child. Johnny's chain rattled. Tanjiro reached out fast and grabbed Johnny's sleeve. Wait, Tanjiro whispered. Johnny's head turned slowly. His eyes looked like they might ignite. Tanjiro forced his voice to stay calm. We save the child first, Tanjiro said. Then we deal with them. Johnny's jaw clenched. They chose this, he said. Tanjiro's grip tightened. The child didn't, Tanjiro said. Johnny's shoulders rose like a storm building. Then he nodded once, sharp. Fine, Johnny said. They moved in. Tanjiro slipped around the side, quiet as a shadow. He cut the rope of the sack in one fast motion and pulled the child free. The child was small, shaking, eyes wide with terror. Tanjiro lifted the child into his arms. It's okay, Tanjiro whispered. Breathe. You're safe. A woman screamed when she saw Tanjiro. The worshippers turned. Their faces were tense, hungry, and desperate. Not demon faces, human faces. One man stood, holding a knife with shaking hands. You don't understand, he hissed. If we don't pay, they come. Tanjiro's voice stayed gentle but firm. Who comes? He asked. The man's eyes darted to the darkness beyond the temple gate. Tanjiro's nose caught it. Demon, a strong one. Not close yet. but near enough. Johnny stepped forward into the lantern light. The worshippers froze. Then they started to back away like animals. Johnny's human form began to crack. Flame leaked through. A skull shape started to appear. The worshippers screamed. The man with the knife pointed at Johnny, voice breaking. "That's one of them!" he cried. "That's the curse! That's—" Johnny's voice cut through, low and deadly. "Where's the demon?" he asked. The man stumbled back. We don't know," he lied. Johnny's head tilted. Tanjiro felt it again. That pressure, that sense of judgment like heavy heat. Johnny stepped closer. The man's knees buckled. "I didn't kill anyone," the man pleaded. I just brought them here. Tanjiro's eyes widened. "You brought people?" Tanjiro asked, voice shaking. The man sobbed. "We had to," he said. "They promised they wouldn't take our children. We had to." Tanjiro's chest tightened in pain and anger. He understood fear. But this was trading strangers to monsters. Johnny's chain lifted slightly, like it was eager. Tanjiro stepped between them. "Johnny," Tanjiro said, voice tight. "Don't." Johnny's voice was cold. "Move," he said. Tanjiro held the child tighter with one arm. "If you burn him," Tanjiro said, "you burn a human in front of a child you just saved." Johnny stared at Tanjiro. For a heartbeat, Tanjiro thought Johnny would shove him aside. Instead, Johnny's flames lowered just a little. Not mercy. Control. Johnny's voice came out rough. "Then you handle them," Johnny said, "because I won't pretend this is okay." Tanjiro nodded once. "I will," he said. He turned to the worshippers. "The demon is using you," Tanjiro said. "It will never stop. It will take more and more until there is nothing left." A woman cried. "Then what do we do?" she shouted. "Die?" Tanjiro's jaw tightened. "You tell us where it meets you," Tanjiro said. "You help us stop it, and you never do this again." The man with the knife shook his head. "It comes through the ice," he whispered, eyes wide. It smiles." Tanjiro's skin prickled. "Ice? A smiling demon?" Tanjiro remembered the names whispered by older slayers. Doma. Before Tanjiro could speak, Johnny's head snapped toward the temple roof. He lifted his chain like a shield. A cold wind swept through the yard. Lantern flames flickered. Frost crawled along the stones. Then a voice drifted down, cheerful and light. "Oh," the voice said. "How lively." Tanjiro's stomach dropped. A figure stood on the roof ridge like it was a stage. Beautiful face, calm smile, eyes that felt empty. Doma. He waved like he was greeting friends. "Thank you for keeping my customers warm," Doma said pleasantly. "I was almost bored." The worshippers shrieked and scrambled away, tripping over each other. Tanjiro's grip tightened on the child. Doma's smile stayed. Now, he said. "Don't run. You'll only get hurt." A fan opened in his hand with a soft snap. Cold air burst outward. Ice shards spread like a storm. Tanjiro moved fast, turning his body and shielding the child. He slashed through the first wave with water breathing, trying to cut a path. Johnny stepped in front of them. He raised his hand. Hellfire roared. The ice storm hit the fire and melted midair into steam that filled the yard like fog. Doma's eyes widened, delighted. "That's new," he said. He leaped down, landing lightly on the stone, not a sound. He looked at Johnny like he was looking at a toy. "You're not from here," Doma said, still smiling. "Are you a demon? A god? A punishment?" Johnny's voice was low. "I'm your consequence," he said. Doma laughed. "How dramatic," he said. "I like you already." Tanjiro set the child behind a stone pillar and told him softly, "Stay here. Don't move." The child nodded, shaking hard. Tanjiro stepped forward, sword raised. Johnny's chain dragged along the stones. Doma spread his fans. The temple yard became a battlefield. Doma attacked first. Not with fists, with cold. A wave of ice swept forward along the ground, trying to trap ankles and freeze movement. Tanjiro leaped, landing on a pillar edge. He sliced downward to break the ice line. Johnny didn't jump. His motorcycle wasn't here. He stood firm. Hellfire poured from his hands and burned a path in the ice, turning the ground into steaming water. Doma's smile stayed. "You melt my art," he said. "That's rude." He flicked his fan. Ice lotuses bloomed in the air and exploded into sharp flakes. Tanjiro spun, blocking what he could, but flakes still cut his cheeks. Johnny whipped his chain. It moved in wide arcs, snapping ice out of the air, dragging it down, breaking it before it could reach the child or the fleeing worshippers. Tanjiro realized something. Johnny was not fighting to win right now. He was fighting to control the space, to keep people alive. That looked like a hero, but it also looked like a hunter, holding back only because the prey was hiding behind innocence. Doma stepped close, fast enough that Tanjiro barely tracked him. He appeared beside Johnny and slapped a fan toward Johnny's neck. Johnny caught the fan mid-swing. Doma blinked, amused. "Strong hands," he said. Johnny squeezed. The fan cracked. Doma's smile did not fade, but his eyes sharpened. He kicked Johnny in the ribs. The hit should have launched a man into a wall. Johnny slid back a step, boots scraping stone. He didn't fall. He didn't cough blood. He just turned his skull slightly as if annoyed. Doma's grin widened. "Oh," he said. "You're sturdy." Tanjiro darted in, slashing for Doma's shoulder. Doma leaned away and let the blade skim. His skin healed with a soft sound. He laughed lightly. "That's cute," he told Tanjiro. Tanjiro's face hardened. He hated that tone. Doma lifted his hand and breathed out. A cold mist rolled toward Tanjiro. Tanjiro felt his lungs tighten. The air was freezing. His fingers went stiff. He jumped back, but the mist followed. Johnny moved between them. Hellfire burst outward like a wall. The mist hissed and broke apart. Doma's smile faltered for the first time. Not fear. Interest turning into caution. "Your fire doesn't care about my cold," Doma said softly. Johnny stepped forward, chain rising. "Look at me," Johnny said. Doma tilted his head. "Why?" he asked, still smiling. Johnny's burning hand grabbed Doma's face. Tanjiro felt that pressure again, stronger now. Doma's smile stayed for a heartbeat. Then his eyes widened, not from pain, from surprise. Because there was something strange. Doma didn't react like the other demons. He didn't scream right away. He didn't shake like a Kaza. For a moment, Doma just stared back, as if there was nothing inside him to grab. Then a thin crack of emotion finally showed. Not guilt. Annoyance. "How unpleasant," Doma said. Voice still calm, but flatter now. He tore his own face free, peeling away skin to escape the grip, then healed it instantly with a smooth, practiced motion. Tanjiro's stomach twisted. If Ghost Rider's stare worked through guilt, what did it mean if Doma had almost none? Johnny's flames spiked. For the first time, Tanjiro saw Johnny's control slip slightly, because something about emptiness angered the spirit inside him. Doma stepped back, hands spread wide, smiling again like a performer. "That almost felt like a prayer," Doma said. "Are you here to save them?" His gaze flicked toward the worshippers, then to the child behind the pillar. Tanjiro's blood went cold. Doma was a monster, but he was also sharp. He had found the weak point in one glance. Tanjiro moved to block the child's line of sight. Johnny's chain snapped forward and wrapped around Doma's waist, yanking him away from that direction. Doma laughed. "Ah, a leash," he said. "How fun!" He slammed his fans together. The ground exploded with ice spikes, rising like spears. Tanjiro leaped from spike to spike, barely avoiding being skewered. Johnny stood in the center and let spikes hit him. Ice shattered against his body and melted where hellfire touched it. But Tanjiro saw it clearly now. Johnny wasn't being hurt like a normal person. The curse made him hard to break. That made him terrifying, and it made him a shield they had never had before. A new voice cut into the chaos. Doma. The word was spoken calm and firm, like a doctor calling a patient's name. Tanjiro's eyes snapped toward the temple gate. A woman stood there with steady posture and clear eyes. Tamayo. Beside her was a young man, Yushiro, tense and ready. Tanjiro's heart jumped. "Tamayo," he gasped. Doma's smile turned bright. "Oh," he said happily, "my favorite runaway." Yushiro snarled. "Don't call her that." Tamayo's gaze stayed calm, but Tanjiro could see her focus. She was scanning the field, measuring danger like a surgeon. Her eyes landed on Johnny. For a moment, even she looked surprised. Then she stepped forward like she had made a decision. "Your fire," Tamayo said, voice controlled. "It targets more than flesh." Johnny's head turned toward her. "Who are you?" he asked. "A demon," Tamayo answered simply. Tanjiro flinched, worried Johnny would react. Johnny did not attack. He stared at Tamayo, as if listening for a deeper truth. Tamayo's voice stayed steady. "I oppose Muzan," she said. "I work to end him." Johnny's flames lowered slightly. Doma clapped his hands once. "How touching," he said. Tamayo didn't look at him. She tossed a small object to the ground. A bottle shattered. A scent burst into the air. Doma's smile twitched. Tanjiro recognized it. Medicine. A drug meant to slow demon movement. Doma stepped back, still smiling, but his eyes sharpened. "You brought toys," Doma said. Tamayo's gaze finally met Doma's. "I brought time," she said. Doma laughed softly. "Time is cute," he replied. Then he moved. Fast. Too fast. He aimed straight for Tamayo. Tanjiro dashed to intercept, but he was too far. Johnny moved instead. Chain snapped out and wrapped Doma's ankle mid-step. Johnny yanked hard. Doma's balance broke. Just for a second. That second mattered. Tamayo stepped aside cleanly. Yushiro threw a charm talisman that flashed, creating a brief barrier. Doma clicked his tongue. "Annoying," he said. Johnny's flames rose again. "Leave," Johnny growled. Doma tilted his head. "Why would I?" he asked. Johnny stepped closer, voice dropping into something darker. "Because if you stay," Johnny said, "I will keep trying until I find something inside you that can burn." For a moment, Doma's smile looked thinner. Not scared, but thoughtful. Then he laughed again, bright as ever. "You're fascinating," he said. "But I don't think today is the day I die." He spread his fans wide. A blizzard burst out, thick enough to blind. Tanjiro covered his face and stumbled, coughing on cold air. Johnny's hellfire flared, trying to burn through the storm. Steam and ice filled the yard, swirling and loud. When the storm cleared, Doma was gone. Only frost remained. The worshippers were scattered and crying. The child behind the pillar was alive, shaking, but alive. Tanjiro's knees felt weak. He lowered his sword slowly. Johnny stood in the center of the yard, breathing hard even though he didn't need to. His fists were clenched. His flames burned low, like anger held inside a tight box. Tamayo stepped closer, careful. She looked at Johnny with calm respect. "You tried something on him," she said. Johnny's voice was rough. "It didn't work right," he said. Tamayo nodded once. "Because Doma is empty," she said quietly. "He does not feel guilt the way others do." Johnny's head tilted. "Then what stops him?" Johnny asked. Tamayo's eyes hardened. The sun, she said. Wisteria. Blades made with special ore and strategy. Johnny's chain rattled. Strategy, he repeated. Tanjiro stepped beside Tamayo, still breathing hard. He will come back, Tanjiro said. Tamayo's gaze moved to Tanjiro. Yes, she said. And Muzan will adjust too. Johnny's flames rose at the name. Muzan is behind this temple, Johnny said. Tamayo nodded. Not always directly, she said, but he uses humans like this. Tanjiro looked at the worshippers, who were sobbing and begging for forgiveness. His chest hurt. He hated them for what they did. He also saw how fear had twisted them. Johnny stared at them like they were stains. You want to forgive them? Johnny said to Tanjiro, voice flat. Tanjiro swallowed. I want them to stop, Tanjiro said. And I want them to live with what they did, not escape it by dying. Johnny's jaw tightened. Living can be a punishment, he admitted. That was the closest thing to agreement Tanjiro had heard from him. Tamayo watched them both with sharp eyes. She understood the conflict without needing it explained. Then she spoke to Johnny, calm and direct. If you truly want Muzan, Tamayo said, you need knowledge. Johnny's head turned. You have it? He asked. I have pieces, Tamayo said. I have studied his blood. I have studied his habits. I have studied what he fears. Johnny leaned forward slightly. And what does he fear? He asked. Tamayo's answer was simple. Losing control, she said. Johnny's flames lowered in a focused way, not calmer, but sharper. Tanjiro felt it. This was the pivot. This was the moment things stopped being random clashes. Now there was a direction. Tamayo glanced at the child again and softened her voice. First, she said, we get the innocent away from this place. Tanjiro nodded. I'll take him, Tanjiro said. He lifted the child gently. Zenitsu and Inosuke arrived late, bruised and frantic, having chased the trail up the mountain. Zenitsu took one look at the icy yard and screamed, Why is it always ice or fire? Can we please fight a normal demon? Inosuke pointed at Johnny and shouted, Skullhead! Did you use flame breathing? Johnny stared at him. Tanjiro winced. Johnny's voice came out flat. It's not breathing, he said. Inosuke puffed his chest. Then it's skull breathing, he declared. Zenitsu wailed. Stop naming things! For one brief second, Tanjiro felt the edge of the night soften. Even Tamayo blinked, like she didn't expect humor to survive here. Johnny looked away, as if the sound of normal foolishness irritated him. Or maybe it reminded him of something he had lost. They left the temple behind. But Tanjiro knew the truth now. Doma had seen Johnny. Tamayo had seen Johnny. And Muzan's network of humans had seen Johnny. Johnny was no longer a rumor. He was a target. And he was also a weapon that could pull the entire war into a new shape. As they walked down the mountain, Tanjiro looked at Johnny's back. Johnny moved like a man carrying a heavy burden that never came off. Tanjiro wondered, quietly and fearfully, what Muzan would offer a man like that. Not money, not comfort, something sharper, something like control, or a way to stop being alone. The next few weeks felt like the night had new rules. Tanjiro learned those rules the hard way, one mission at a time. When the sun went down, Johnny did not sleep. He walked the edges of towns. He stood on roads where no one wanted to be alone. He listened. Sometimes he rode his motorcycle through the dark like a moving warning sign. Sometimes he just stood still, chain loose in his hand, head tilted like he could hear guilt the way Tanjiro could smell blood. The Demon Slayer Corps tried to adapt around him. Kagaya's orders were clear. Johnny could help. Johnny could hunt demons. But Johnny could not act near humans without a Hashira present, unless it was an emergency. So the Corps built a simple system. If a demon was spotted near a village, Tanjiro and a small team moved first to protect people. A Hashira stayed close enough to step in if Johnny's judgment turned toward a human. Johnny arrived like a second wave, like a wall of fire that made demons panic. It worked more often than it failed. But every time it worked, Tanjiro felt something twist inside him, because he could see what Johnny wanted to do. Johnny wanted the fast ending. He wanted to look at a monster and finish it in one breath. Tanjiro wanted an ending too. He wanted Muzan gone. He wanted his sister free. He wanted the war to stop. But Tanjiro also knew this world was full of messy pain. Some people lied to survive. Some people betrayed others out of fear. Some demons cried while killing. Some humans smiled while selling a stranger to the dark. Johnny did not like messy. Johnny liked guilty and not guilty. That difference became the real battlefield. On a cold night near a river village, Zenitsu saw Johnny standing alone by the water, holding a small flame above his palm. Zenitsu grabbed Tanjiro's sleeve and whispered, "He's doing it again." Tanjiro sighed. "He's checking," Tanjiro whispered back. Zenitsu's eyes were huge. "It's like he's looking for sins in the fire," Zenitsu said. "That's terrifying. That's not training. That's skull breathing." Johnny turned his head slowly. Zenitsu squeaked and hid behind Tanjiro. Johnny's voice was flat. "Stop naming things." Inosuke popped up from behind a tree. "No," he shouted. "I will name it. Skull breathing. First form. Angry candle." Johnny stared at him. Tanjiro waited for Johnny's temper to snap. Instead, Johnny looked away like Inosuke was a fly he couldn't be bothered to chase. But Tanjiro noticed something. Johnny's shoulders eased for a moment. Not because the joke was funny, because it was normal. It sounded like life. And Johnny did not hear enough of that. Later, at the Ubuyashiki mansion, Shinobu spoke quietly with Kagaya, while Tanjiro knelt nearby. "We have to assume he can judge humans," Shinobu said, still smiling, but her voice was serious. "Even good ones, even people who never meant to become monsters." Kagaya nodded. "Yes," he said. "So we keep him close, but not too close. We guide him without insulting him." Shinobu's eyes narrowed. "And if he refuses guidance?" Kagaya's voice did not change. "Then we do what we have always done," he said softly. "We protect humans, no matter what shape the threat takes." Tanjiro felt his stomach tighten. He understood what Kagaya meant. If Johnny ever turned, they would have to fight him. Tanjiro did not want to imagine it, but the war did not care what Tanjiro wanted. The next change came like a needle under the skin, small at first, easy to miss. A merchant in one town went missing. People said demons took him. Then a traveling worker disappeared on a road that was supposed to be safe. Then a boy vanished, and his family swore they saw monks lead him away, not demons. Tanjiro followed the trails. He checked blood. He checked footprints. He listened to people's stories. Each time he found the same thing hiding under different words. Humans were helping. Again. Johnny felt it too. He didn't need reports. He didn't need crows. He felt the pull in his bones. One night, Tanjiro found Johnny standing in the yard outside the mansion, looking at the moon like he hated how calm it looked. Johnny's voice came before Tanjiro could speak. "They're doing it again," Johnny said. Tanjiro's throat tightened. "The cult," Tanjiro said. Johnny's jaw clenched. "Call it what it is," Johnny replied. "Traffickers." Tanjiro flinched at the word, because it was true. A Kasugai crow landed on the fence and shouted the message like it was a warning bell. "Message for Kamado Tanjiro. A letter was found at the ruins of a temple. It is addressed to the Flaming One." Tanjiro's eyes widened. Johnny's head snapped toward the crow. The crow dropped a wrapped paper bundle onto the ground and hopped back, nervous. Johnny picked it up. The paper smelled like incense and old sweat. He unwrapped it and read. Tanjiro watched his face tighten line by line. "What is it?" Tanjiro asked. Johnny's voice was rough. "An invitation," he said. Tanjiro's stomach sank. "From Muzan?" he asked. Johnny's eyes narrowed. "Not directly," he said. "From humans. They claim they know what I am. They say they can help me." Tanjiro felt cold. "Help you how?" he asked. Johnny held the paper out. Tanjiro read the line that mattered most. "We can show you how to control the curse. We can show you a gate back to your world. But you must come alone. No slayers." Tanjiro's heart dropped. This wasn't a trap meant to kill Johnny fast. This was a trap meant to pull him apart, to isolate him, to tempt him. Tanjiro looked up. "Don't go alone," he said. Johnny's voice was flat. "I was going to," he replied. Tanjiro stepped closer, anger flashing through fear. "That's exactly what Muzan wants," Tanjiro said. "He wants you away from us. He wants to test you without witnesses." Johnny's eyes hardened. "And if there's a chance to control this," he said, tapping his chest, "I'm taking it." Tanjiro's voice softened. "I get it," he said. "You didn't choose this." Johnny's mouth tightened. "No," he said. "I didn't." Tanjiro took a breath. "Then let us help you," Tanjiro said. "Let us be there so you don't have to choose alone." Johnny stared at him. For a moment, Tanjiro thought Johnny would refuse out of pride. Then Johnny said, "Fine." Tanjiro blinked. "Fine?" he repeated. Johnny's voice stayed hard. "You come," he said, "but if you slow me down, I'll leave you behind." Tanjiro nodded. "I won't," he promised. Kagaya made the final call. Giyu would shadow them from a distance. Shinobu would be close too, not because she trusted Johnny, but because she trusted her own eyes. "Do not let him be cornered," Kagaya told Tanjiro quietly. "A cornered protector becomes a weapon." Tanjiro bowed. "Yes," he said. They left at dusk. The road led to an old estate outside a larger town. It had been abandoned after a fire years ago. People avoided it now. Even before they reached it, Tanjiro smelled the wrongness. Not just demon, human fear. Old fear. Like a place where bad choices had been made many times. Johnny stopped in front of the broken gate. He stared at the property with a stillness that made Tanjiro uneasy. "This is where they want us," Tanjiro said softly. Johnny's voice was low. "Good," he said. "Then we end it here." They moved in. The estate's yard was dead grass and cracked stone. The main building stood like a dark mouth. Lanterns had been lit inside, too bright for an abandoned place. Tanjiro stepped onto the porch. The floor creaked. A door opened on its own. Inside, a line of people stood with bowed heads. Not demons, humans. Men and women in simple clothes, hands clasped, faces pale. One man stepped forward. His hair was neat. His smile was practiced. "Welcome," the man said. "We have waited." Tanjiro's hand tightened around his sword. "Where are the missing people?" Tanjiro asked. The man's smile did not falter. "Safe," he said. "As long as we are treated fairly." Johnny's eyes narrowed. "You don't bargain with me," Johnny said. The man's smile twitched. "You're not a demon slayer," he said, studying Johnny. "And you're not a demon either. You're something special." Johnny's voice was cold. "Skip the compliments," he said. "Show me what you promised." The man lifted a hand. A second door opened deeper inside the estate. Tanjiro's nose caught it. Blood. A lot of it. He ran. He burst into a wide room that used to be a hall. People were tied to posts. Some were gagged. Some were unconscious. A few were children. Tanjiro's chest tightened in rage. Zenitsu would have screamed if he were here. Inosuke would have charged. Tanjiro forced himself to breathe. He moved to cut ropes. Then the room changed. The air became heavier. A demon scent rose, but it was strange. Thin. Clean. Almost empty. Tanjiro's eyes snapped to the ceiling beams. Figures dropped down, landing in a circle around them. Demons. But not like the ones Tanjiro was used to. They didn't grin. They didn't taunt. They stared with blank faces like tools waiting for a command. Johnny stepped into the center, chain lifting. "See?" The man's voice called from the doorway behind them. "We can give you targets. We can give you control." Tanjiro turned. "You did this," he said, voice shaking. "You brought demons into a room full of children." The man spread his hands. "We live in the real world," he said calmly. "If we don't feed them, they feed on us." Johnny's voice cut through. "You fed them other people," Johnny said. The demons attacked. Not with noise, with speed. 2 rushed Tanjiro. 1 rushed Johnny. Others moved toward the Tide people, like their job was to make the hostages die first. Tanjiro moved fast. Water breathing, 4th form, striking Tide. His blade flashed. 1 demon's head rolled, clean. The demon did not scream. It simply fell. Tanjiro's heart sank anyway, because even a blank demon had been human once. He didn't have time to think. He dashed to the hostages and began cutting ropes with quick, careful swings. Johnny swung his chain in a wide arc. It snapped around a demon's torso and yanked it away from a child. Johnny's hand flared. Hellfire hit the demon's chest. The demon didn't beg. It didn't even react with fear. But it burned anyway. And the smell told Tanjiro it was not just flesh being damaged. It was something deeper. A demon lunged at Johnny's back. Johnny didn't turn. He reached behind him and grabbed it by the face like it was nothing. He slammed it into the floor hard enough to crack wood. Tanjiro watched, stunned, even while moving. Johnny's strength was unreal. And still, Johnny's eyes kept flicking to the humans. Not the Tide victims. The cult members in the doorway. Because the spirit inside Johnny was tugging. Tanjiro could feel it now, like a storm pulling on a rope. One of the cult members stepped into the room and shoved a child forward like a shield. Tanjiro's blood ran cold. The child's wrists were tied. The child stumbled and almost fell. The cult member yelled, "Stop, or he dies!" Tanjiro froze mid-step. Johnny did not. Johnny walked forward. The cult member's eyes widened. "No!" he shouted. "I'll—" Johnny's chain moved faster than Tanjiro's eyes. It wrapped the cult member's wrist and snapped the knife out of his hand. The knife clattered away. Johnny yanked the cult member forward, away from the child. Tanjiro dashed in and grabbed the child, pulling him back. Tanjiro's chest heaved. "Thank you," he whispered. Johnny didn't answer. He was staring at the cult member now. The cult member's face twisted. "I didn't kill anyone," he shouted. "I just delivered them." Johnny's flames rose. Tanjiro stepped between them again, voice tight. "Johnny," he said. "Not now. The hostages first." Johnny's jaw clenched. "He'll do it again," Johnny said. Tanjiro's voice shook with anger and fear. "Then we arrest him," Tanjiro said. "We bring him to the core. We don't burn him in front of children." Johnny stared at Tanjiro. The flames lowered a fraction. A choice, not mercy. A delay. "Fine," Johnny said, voice like stone. "But he doesn't walk away clean." Behind them, more demons rushed in. Tanjiro felt his stomach drop. This was planned in layers. They weren't just fighting a few tools. They were being held in place. Tanjiro shouted, "Giyu!" Giyu appeared like a shadow, landing in the hall with calm eyes and a drawn blade. Water breathing, 11th form. Dead calm. The room seemed to quiet around him for a moment. Demon attacks that would have hit the hostages fell into nothing as Gyu's blade moved with perfect control. Shinobu slipped in after him, small and fast, her needle sword flashing. She didn't try to cut heads. She stabbed pressure points with poison, slowing demons that tried to rush the victims. "Move the humans out," Shinobu said sharply, smile gone. Tanjiro nodded and began guiding the freed hostages toward the exit. Then the floor trembled. A new presence pressed into the room like a hand around everyone's throat. The cult members fell to their knees. Even the blank demons hesitated, like they felt a master's attention. Tanjiro's nose caught it, and his heart sank. Muzan. Not fully, but close. A figure stepped into the doorway. Perfect posture. Calm face. Cold eyes. For a heartbeat, Tanjiro thought it was Muzan himself. Johnny's head turned. The air around Johnny changed. It felt hotter and heavier. Johnny's voice came out low. "There you are," he said. The figure smiled slightly. "You're not from my world," the figure said, "but you arrived in my territory." Tanjiro's hands shook. He had seen Muzan once before. The memory still made his skin crawl. This figure felt like him. But something was off. Tamayo's words came back to Tanjiro. Muzan uses layers. He uses masks. Johnny took one step forward. The figure lifted a hand. Blood moved like a weapon, shooting out in sharp lines. Tanjiro shouted, "Down!" Johnny moved faster than the blood spears. He stepped in front of Tanjiro and the hostages. The blood spears hit Johnny's body. They pierced. They cracked. They should have killed any man. Johnny did not fall. Hellfire burst around the wounds. The spears burned away like they were being rejected by something older and meaner than flesh. Tanjiro stared, stunned. The figure's smile thinned. "So that's how you survive," it said. Johnny's chain whipped forward. It wrapped the figure's arm. Johnny yanked hard. Pulling it off balance, Johnny closed the distance in a blink, grabbed the figure's face, and forced it up. "Look at me," Johnny said. The pressure hit the room like a wave. Tanjiro's stomach turned. The figure's eyes widened. Then it laughed. Not from joy, from mockery. "You think guilt is my weakness?" it said. Johnny's flames surged. Tanjiro saw something strange. For one moment, the figure's skin rippled, like it wasn't one person, like it was a suit made of blood. It split. The Muzan in front of them collapsed into a mess of flesh that tried to crawl away. A decoy, a body double. Shinobu clicked her tongue. "A puppet," she muttered. Tanjiro's breath came out sharp. Muzan wasn't here, not fully, but he was close enough to speak. A voice drifted through the room, not from any mouth. Smooth, calm, everywhere at once. "You're impressive," Muzan's voice said, "and you're wasted on these small demons." Tanjiro's blood ran cold. Johnny's head lifted, flames high. "Show yourself," Johnny growled. Muzan's voice stayed calm. "Why?" it asked. "So you can judge me." The voice sounded amused. "I don't fear your fire," Muzan said. "I fear losing my freedom. And you are a creature that thinks it can take freedom away." Tanjiro's hands tightened. He could feel what Muzan was doing. Muzan wasn't just talking. He was searching for cracks. Muzan's voice softened slightly. "Johnny Blaze," it said. Tanjiro's eyes widened. Johnny's flames flickered. He didn't ask how Muzan knew. But Tanjiro felt the danger of that name being used. Muzan's voice continued. "You want control," Muzan said. "You want silence in your head. You want the curse to stop pulling." Johnny's jaw clenched hard. Tanjiro looked at Johnny's fists. They were shaking. Just a little. Muzan's voice became almost gentle. "I can help you," Muzan said. "This world is built on monsters and fear. I can give you a place where you never have to hold back, where you can punish without anyone calling you a villain." Tanjiro stepped forward, voice sharp. "He's lying," Tanjiro said. Muzan ignored Tanjiro. "I can even show you a path home," Muzan said to Johnny. "A gate, a way out. Your pain doesn't have to stay here." Johnny's flames lowered, then rose again. For a heartbeat, Tanjiro feared Johnny would listen. Not because Johnny was weak, because Johnny was tired. Because loneliness is a kind of wound. Johnny's voice came out rough. "You're the kind of evil I was made for," he said. Muzan's voice chuckled softly. "Then prove it," it said. "Catch me." The estate lights went out, not because the lanterns died, because the shadows swallowed them. The floor under Tanjiro's feet shifted like the building was changing shape. Doors appeared where there were no doors. Hallways stretched longer than they should. Tanjiro's heart pounded. This felt like demon art on a huge scale. A trap space, a moving maze. Shinobu whispered, "Nakime," like she had guessed the name of the hand behind the walls. Gyu's eyes narrowed. "Stay close," he said. Tanjiro grabbed the nearest hostage and pushed them toward the entrance. But the entrance was gone. A wall stood there now. Tanjiro's chest tightened. Muzan was trying to separate them. Johnny's chain snapped out and anchored into the wall. Johnny yanked hard. The wall cracked but did not break. It was like the building itself was refusing. Johnny's flames rose. Hellfire poured onto the wall, burning it in a wide patch. The wall blackened and peeled back. Not like wood, like something alive being forced to give up shape. A hole opened. Cold air rushed in. Outside, night air. A real exit. Tanjiro's eyes widened in relief. Johnny barked, "Move!" Tanjiro began guiding hostages out through the hole. Gyu and Shinobu guarded the line. Demons rushed from the shifting halls, trying to grab the weakest. Johnny stood in the center, like a burning gate. Anything that came near him was yanked by chain or burned by fire. But Muzan's voice returned, sharp now. "You're choosing them," Muzan said. Johnny didn't answer. Muzan's voice turned cruel. "Then watch," it said. A cult member stumbled into view, holding a little girl by the shoulders. The cult member's eyes were wild. "If I die, she dies," he screamed. Tanjiro's stomach dropped. The little girl was alive, human, shaking. Tanjiro stepped forward, hands up. "Please," Tanjiro said softly. "Let her go. I swear you'll live if you let her go." The cult member laughed, hysterical. "You can't promise that," he shouted. "Not with him here." His eyes flicked to Johnny. He was right to fear. Johnny's flames rose. The spirit inside Johnny pulled hard toward the cult member. Tanjiro could see it in Johnny's posture. Johnny wanted to end it now. One chain snap. One burn. Done. Tanjiro stepped in front of Johnny, voice firm even as his chest shook. "Johnny," he said, "if you burn him now, the girl might get hurt. He's unstable." Johnny's voice was low, angry. "He's guilty," Johnny said. Tanjiro nodded, tears stinging his eyes. "Yes," he said, "but she's innocent." Johnny stared at Tanjiro. The air was tense enough to snap. Then Johnny did something Tanjiro did not expect. Johnny looked past the cult member, not at the girl, at the ceiling corner where shadows felt thickest, like he could sense Muzan watching through the building. Johnny spoke toward that darkness. "You want me to slip," Johnny said. "You want me to burn the wrong person so your world hates me." Muzan's voice chuckled. "I want the truth," it said. "Your truth." Johnny's jaw clenched. Then Johnny moved. He didn't burn the cult member. He didn't hesitate either. His chain snapped forward and wrapped the cult member's waist and wrists in one clean motion. Johnny yanked hard, ripping the cult member away from the girl, without touching the girl. The cult member hit the floor. Johnny's boot planted on his chest. Johnny's voice was cold. "You don't get to use children," he said. The cult member spat, desperate. "Kill me then," he screamed. "Do it!" Johnny leaned down, his flames lowered, controlled, like a furnace door closing. "I won't give you an escape," Johnny said. "You'll live, and you'll remember what you've done." Tanjiro's eyes widened. It wasn't mercy, but it wasn't a shortcut either. It was a punishment that didn't risk the innocent. Tanjiro swallowed hard. "Thank you," he whispered, and this time he meant it without fear. Muzan's voice became quieter, not defeated, just interested. "So you can hold the line," Muzan said. "For now." A final wave of demons rushed, not to kill, but to slow. Johnny burned them down. Giyu cut through what slipped past. Shinobu's poison slowed anything that tried to leap into the hostage line. Tanjiro guided the last child out through the hole. Then the building groaned. The shifting halls began to collapse inward, like a throat closing. Muzan's voice spoke one last time, smooth and cold. "Run," Muzan said. "You saved them today, but I will always have tomorrow." Johnny's flames flared high. "I'll be there tomorrow," Johnny said. The shadow swallowed the inside of the estate. Tanjiro, Giyu, Shinobu, and Johnny made it out with the hostages. They stumbled into the yard, breathing hard. Behind them, the estate looked normal again for a heartbeat. Then it cracked and sank in on itself like something empty, losing its shape. The cult members who survived screamed and fled into the night. Tanjiro wanted to chase them. Johnny's chain rattled like he wanted to as well. But Giyu spoke first, calm and firm. "We don't split," he said. "Not tonight." Shinobu's eyes were sharp. "Muzan wasn't here," she said. "He used a puppet and a maze. He learned what he wanted." Tanjiro's chest tightened. "He learned Johnny won't burn children," Tanjiro said quietly. Johnny's voice was rough. "He learned more than that," Johnny said. Tanjiro looked at him. Johnny stared into the dark road leading away from the estate. "He learned he can talk to me," Johnny said. "And he learned what I want." Tanjiro's throat tightened. "What do you want?" Tanjiro asked, even though he already knew. Johnny's eyes looked tired. "Control," he said. "Silence. A way to stop the pull." Tanjiro nodded slowly. "And he offered it," Tanjiro said. Johnny's jaw clenched. "He offered a lie shaped like hope," Johnny said. "That's his real weapon." They walked back toward the road with the rescued people. The survivors were shaking and crying, but alive. Tanjiro heard one woman whisper, "The fire. It didn't hurt us." Another whispered, "The skull. It saved my son." Those words should have felt like a win. But Tanjiro knew Muzan had wanted something else. Muzan wanted the world to fear Johnny. Tonight, Johnny had refused to become that fear. That meant Muzan would change tactics again. As they reached the road, Zenitsu's voice echoed in Tanjiro's head from earlier weeks, loud and silly. "Skull breathing. First form. Angry candle." Tanjiro almost smiled. Then he looked at Johnny's face. Johnny wasn't smiling. Johnny looked like a man standing on the edge of a cliff, holding himself back with one hand. Tanjiro stepped closer. "Johnny," he said softly, "you didn't take Muzan's offer." Johnny's voice was flat. "Of course not," he said. Tanjiro nodded. "Then, what now?" he asked. Johnny's gaze stayed on the road. "Now I stay," he said. Tanjiro blinked. "Stay?" he repeated. Johnny's voice didn't change. "This world has demons," Johnny said. "It has humans who feed them. It has a king who thinks he can hide forever." Johnny finally turned to Tanjiro. "I don't leave a job unfinished," Johnny said. Tanjiro felt a strange warmth in his chest. not comfort, something closer to shared duty. Gyu watched them with calm eyes. Shinobu's smile returned, thin and careful. "How noble," she said. Johnny looked at her. "Don't start," he said. Shinobu's eyes narrowed. "I'm not praising you," she replied. "I'm reminding you that staying means living around humans, messy humans." Johnny's voice was low. "I know," he said. Tanjiro spoke, careful but honest. "If you stay," Tanjiro said, "you stay with rules." Johnny's flames flickered. Then Johnny nodded once. "Fine," he said. "Rules." Tanjiro let out a breath. A new status quo had formed. Not trust, not peace, but a working line between mercy and judgment. And somewhere in the dark, Muzan was already planning how to cut that line. Dawn came pale and quiet. Tanjiro sat on a hill above a small town that had been rescued the night before. Smoke from cooking fires rose in thin lines. People moved slowly, tired but alive. He could hear soft voices. Some were thanking the Demon Slayer Corps. Some were crying for what they lost. Some were simply breathing like that was enough. Nezuko's box rested beside him. The latch was secure. Tanjiro placed his hand on the wood like he was steadying himself. A few steps away, Johnny sat on a broken stone wall. He was in human form. His head was down. His hands were still. The chain lay across his knees like a sleeping animal. Tanjiro watched him quietly. Johnny looked like a man who could pass through a crowd if he wanted to. But Tanjiro knew what lived under that skin. Tanjiro spoke first, voice soft. "You were right about something," he said. Johnny didn't look up. "What?" he asked. Tanjiro stared at the sunrise. "Living can be a punishment," Tanjiro said. Johnny's hand tightened on the chain. He didn't deny it. Tanjiro continued. "Those people in the estate, the ones who helped demons," Tanjiro said. "They will have to live with what they did." Johnny's voice was rough. "If they live," he said. Tanjiro nodded. "The Corps will hunt them," Tanjiro said. "Not with fire, with the law we have, with guards, with fear of being caught." Johnny let out a short breath. "Your world is slow," he said. Tanjiro's lips pressed together. "Yes," he admitted. "It is." A quiet moment passed. Then Tanjiro asked the question that had been sitting like a stone in his stomach. "When Muzan said your name," Tanjiro said, "it shook you." Johnny's eyes lifted, tired and flat. "He doesn't get to know my name," Johnny said. Tanjiro's voice stayed gentle. "But he does now," Tanjiro said. Johnny's jaw tightened. "Then he dies," Johnny said simply. Tanjiro didn't argue. He just looked down at his hands. "I'm still afraid of you sometimes," Tanjiro admitted. Johnny stared at him. Tanjiro's voice stayed honest. "Not because you hurt demons," Tanjiro said. "Because I don't always know where your line is with humans." Johnny's eyes narrowed, then softened slightly, like he respected the truth. "My line is the innocent," Johnny said. "It always has been." Tanjiro swallowed. "And what about people who did wrong because they were terrified?" Tanjiro asked. Johnny's voice lowered. "Fear explains," he said. "It doesn't erase." Tanjiro nodded slowly. "That's fair," he said. He looked out at the town again. "You saved them," Tanjiro said, "even when Muzan tried to make you slip." Johnny's eyes moved to the sunrise. "I didn't do it for them," he said. Tanjiro blinked. "Then why?" he asked. Johnny's voice came out quiet. "Because Muzan wanted me to become his story," Johnny said. "He wanted me to be the monster that proves his world is hopeless." Tanjiro's chest tightened. Johnny continued, "I won't let him decide what I am." Tanjiro felt a small, strong thing rise in his chest. Hope. Not bright. Not easy, but real. A crow landed on a nearby branch and cawed, impatient. Giyu's calm footsteps approached from behind. "Kamado," Giyu said. "We move soon." Tanjiro nodded. "Yes," he said. Giyu's eyes flicked to Johnny. He didn't greet him warmly, but he didn't reach for his sword either. That was progress in its own way. Shinobu appeared next, still smiling. "Try not to scare the villagers on your way out," she told Johnny sweetly. Johnny stared at her. "No promises," he said. Shinobu's smile widened. "Wonderful," she replied, and walked away. Tanjiro stood and lifted Nezuko's box onto his back. Before he left, he looked at Johnny one more time. "Johnny," Tanjiro said. Johnny's eyes met his. Tanjiro spoke clearly. "In this world, we keep walking," Tanjiro said. "Even when we're tired, even when we're scared, even when the night feels endless." Johnny's mouth twitched, almost a smile, almost not. "Yeah," Johnny said quietly. "I noticed." Tanjiro nodded once and turned. As they started down the hill, Tanjiro heard the low rumble of an engine behind him. Johnny's motorcycle rolled onto the road, not racing, not roaring for attention, just moving, steady and certain, like a patrol that would not stop. The sun rose higher, the town below kept breathing, and the night, wherever it hid, knew it would be hunted two different ways now, by mercy and by judgment.